Then silenced by fear, an East Texas survivor of human trafficking is speaking out for the very first time since her rescue. Good evening, I'm Brennan Gurley. Mariah Conduff sat down with this Jane Doe who is sharing her story exclusively with CBS19. We decided not to show her face or share her name to protect her identity. In this part one of her story, Jane is speaking out not only for herself, but for countless others in East Texas who have suffered in silence.
When I saw the lingerie, that was like my skin felt like it was peeling off itself, like my hairs were standing up.
This was the moment a young Jane Doe found out her friend sold her for $100.
I'm shaking, I'm in shock.
To understand how she got here, we have to start from the very beginning.
I was originally born in Mexico. I got moved here, I think around 6 months of age.
But her move to the United States was anything but the American dream.
I didn't have good memories from what I could recollect from that part of my childhood.
Jane witnessed substance and physical abuse at a young age.
My birth mom, she kind of was into drugs and addictions. My stepdad, he was very violent. Cops were having to be called a lot.
At 7 years old, she moved to Tyler to live with her biological father and her stepmother.
I thought that moving in with them was going to be amazing.
It was anything but that.
It started off good at first, moving in with them probably for about a year, and then that's when bad stuff started happening at home with my stepmom.
What do you mean by bad stuff?
It was like normal butt whoopings with the belt, and then very fast it progressed into whatever was around, like a hard Swiffer industrial mop pole or cable cords wrapped around each other.
Small welts turned to open wounds.
She started beating me with the pole. She just keeps going and going and going to where the blood's getting my head busts open, to where my t-shirt is just completely covered in my blood.
Until one day,
and my Nana turns to me and tells me, "You're coming with me, because when she gets back, she's gonna kill you. She's gonna beat you so bad, she's gonna kill you. You can't stay here anymore."
After that, she spent time bouncing around from family member to family member and back to her dad's house. Feeling defeated and alone, she turned to drugs.
I think I was chasing a thrill, but I think it was the beginning of my self-destructive pattern.
Even attempting to end her own life.
I took about 500 Benadryl that night. Just straight up, I put them in shot glasses and I was listening to music and I just started taking shot after shot of pills.
A cry for help with no one listening on the other side.
I was struggling with mental health and didn't have support.
Her behavior got her kicked out of her father's home at just 17 years old. Desperate for a job and a place to stay.
I was illegal, I couldn't get an ID, I didn't have paperwork, I just had an expired green card.
Jane moved in with her friend, ignoring vibrant red flags.
But she was bad. She was very mean. And I just ignored it because it was I didn't want to be alone. She kept telling me, "I have this friend that I know and he helps people out with getting a place in a hotel and stuff." And she was like, "It's a hotline. They just need you to make phone calls."
Jane was reluctant at first.
She's like, "You trust me, right?" And I was like, "Yes. Would I ever do anything to hurt you?"
Not realizing her friend had just sold her life away.
She apparently had met my trafficker at the gas station across from Shiloh Pines. So he propositioned her, "If you'll bring me a girl, for each girl you bring to me, I'll give you $100.
They arrived at this hotel in Tyler.
And that's when I got scared. It's called The Game, right? There's the pimp, a bottom girl, the original, and then there's other girls.
The Game became her life.
I was seeing over 100 men a day. Over 100. It was, it would shock you to if you really knew pastors, police officers, people that work at your donut shops, everyday people, married men.
For 22 hours a day, every day, it felt like a never-ending nightmare.
No amount of drugs that he was giving me could like take the feeling and the memories off of me. No matter how many like hot showers I took, nothing.
And there was no escaping the lifestyle that she was tricked into.
He's like, yeah, I sit there and watch your sisters play in the front yard sometimes. Your dad has this kind of car in the driveway and that kind of car. And then I'm like, oh my God, he's been to my house.
Threatening to harm the most innocent and vulnerable members of her family.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I'll make more money. I'll work harder. Because those are my baby sisters. And the things that I was going through, there was no way I would ever let anyone hurt them.
With no other choice, she worked to protect her family, eventually being trafficked again out of the Gilmer-Longview area.
It's a gang of boys this time, a gang of men. One of them in particular, he was mean. I was very scared of him because I was like, if he wants to kill someone, he really will.
These traffickers weren't using Backpage like the previous one. They created fake dating profiles of Jane and another girl that said 2-for-1 deal.
And these boys would be hiding in the bathtub in the shower with their guns or a pipe in their hand or a baseball bat and beat these men senseless.
Robbing every single one, taking their phones, cash, and draining their bank accounts until one man decided to report it.
So that was kind of like red flagged, I guess, in the Longview Police Department.
A red flag that saved Jane's life.
Apparently, one of my old-time friends from my childhood, he had reported me missing because I hadn't texted him back in a while. So when he reported me missing, that's when like an investigation started way back then that I didn't know about.
Because of the police report, they were able to locate Jane at a motel. Jane was planning for that night to be her last one on Earth.
I had to talk with God and I was like, this is my last night, God. Like, if something doesn't happen, you don't help me out here, I'm gonna kill myself because I hate this. I hate it. This isn't me. Like, I'm stuck.
And then she looked out her window.
And right when I look out, there's like this breakfast restaurant. And I just see a bunch of like dark SUVs pull up. They're cops. They're suiting up. They're putting guns in their vests. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I've never seen this happen before. Like, someone's being held hostage in that restaurant, you know?
Not knowing the person being rescued was her, until she heard a knock on the door.
This guy walks up to me and he goes, I'm Special Agent so-and-so. We've been looking for you for a long time. You're okay now, you're safe.
Her story is one of many here in East Texas. Sex trafficking is a more than $600 billion business in the state of Texas. That's according to the Texas Human Trafficking Resource Center. In part 2 of Jane's story tomorrow night, CBS19 spoke to a nonprofit organization and the Smith County District Attorney who explained how these cases are prosecuted and the challenges survivors face. That's tomorrow night on CBS19 News at 6.